Hello, here's my screencast for Can You Filter the Water, the Inquiry Lab for Module 2. So to start, I just took a picture of the materials that I used. I didn't have clear Dixie cups, so throughout the lab it was a little bit difficult to get that nice picture of all the layers for my filter, but on the left is a picture of my materials. I punched holes in the bottom of my Dixie cups to start with the push pins, and to reflect on it, I think I should have made the holes a little bit bigger because it did take a long time for the water to flow through. But then again, if you make them too big, then the sand and the activated charcoal, which are a little bit smaller particles or materials, could seep through a little bit. So that was a little bit trial and error. So for my classmates that have not done this lab yet, maybe try that out with the size of the holes. So I started building my water filter. I started with a clear plastic water bottle at the bottom just so that you could see the clear water or the filtered water at the bottom. And then I did a layer of the sand. So that was the last part of my filter. And then on top of that, I did the cheesecloth. Also, you'll notice here that I use push pins to help hold up my cups. I got that idea from the video that we were to watch with the students at Millersville doing this lab prior to us doing it. At first, I was just stacking the cups one on top of each other, but there was no space then for the water to flow through, and I was trying to rack my brain and brainstorm a little bit different ways that I could maybe space out the cups. I tried rubber bands, and different size cups, but it didn't seem to work. And then finally, after watching that video a few times to see their process through it, I noticed that they did use push pins to help hold up their cups. And I thought that was a great idea. So I'm not sure if they were told to do that or if they discovered that on their own, but that was a great idea and it did work pretty well for me. So here's my final water filter on the left. So going from top down, I do have a coffee filter at the top that's rubber band. Right underneath that, I have the gravel, and then underneath that, I have the activated charcoal. And then I have my layer of the cheesecloth, and then my final layer before it goes into the clear cup is the sand. And then I also have a quick video to show you of my filter. So you can see through that video that I do have the gravel at the top, and then you can kind of see the charcoal right underneath that. And then, as I mentioned, cheesecloth, then sand, and then it was the clear cup that it would hopefully filter clear into. And then here's another picture of my filter. It definitely was a Leaning Tower of Pisa. It was very unsteady, and that's something that maybe doing this in the classroom, using different materials or not as many to make it not as high, because I did have a little mini disaster with this, and I have a video. Fortunately, I have a video clip of that later to show you. So here is my first attempt of pouring the water into my filter. Something I also struggled with was finding dirty water to filter. I had to go outside and get some dirt and mud up the water a little bit to use for this. So it is hard to hear in the video, but you could hear the water trickling through each layer, which was pretty neat. So after I poured it in that first layer, you could hear it working its way down to the bottom. So this is my little mini disaster that happened during this lab, which is typical, and it could certainly happen in the classroom, and I did want to include it because I got a good laugh out of it. So this was my little mess up during this inquiry lab for this module. So I tried to pour the water into the cup without holding it. I didn't have any assistance during this lab. So as the water was pouring in, the top cup just got a little bit off balance, and then it all decided to spill. So I moved my lab to the sink, and then it worked a lot better because I could use the sink walls kind of as support for it. So this is a safer and cleaner version of pouring the water into the cup. So you can see in this video, the water is dirty at the top, but then it is coming clear or pretty much clear from out at the bottom. So I started with this water on the left that was made with dirt from outside and water mixed it up. And then on the right is after I let it filter through my filtering system. And it is pretty clear. It's a little bit foggy, and I wouldn't say that I would drink it, but it is definitely an improvement from what we started with. So looking at the inquiry continuum that was posted for this module, I definitely think that this was learner self-directed more than teacher guided. I did watch the video that was posted and read through the manuscript for how the lab would go, but there was no direct instruction for how to layer your cups, and I think that's where that is self-directed. I also think this lab allows students to be active problem solvers. A few of the articles that were posted for this lab for our inquiry essay that we are to write touch base on how we have those 21st century learners and how they need to be active problem solvers, and they need to be able to ask those questions and solve those things independently. And I think that's this type of lab, and STEM labs are a way that they can do that. They're formulating that explanation from evidence that they find by themselves. There was, like I had said before, little instruction with how to complete the lab. We are just told to create a filter, and that the ultimate goal was to produce clear water at the end. And so I think having that self-direction for the learner, they're collecting their data, they're going through a process and formulating ways that they can solve the problem and come up with a solution and how they can create that clean water to be able to drink. I also think that this lab can really lead into a great discussion with your learners as well, and allow them to communicate and justify, really hitting those essential features on the continuum, and then having them self-reflect. Self-reflection isn't something on the continuum, but I do think that it follows into communicating and justifying why they did that, and evaluating why they chose to do it that certain way. So like I said, I do think this is a great lab, and as far as where this falls in the inquiry continuum, I think it does hit all the essential features as far as engagement, evaluation, communication, and formulating a plan. And then it is more on the learner self-directed side. I look forward to watching everyone else's videos. I do hope that you are a little bit more successful than me as far as making a big mess in your kitchen. Thank you.